One of the things we get asked often is, what are the different ways in which we can clean carpets? And my first question to the people who ask those questions are, how much time do you have and how much money do you want to spend? Because there are different types of cleaning for carpet, and each of them has a certain set of tools that are required to do that cleaning, and they take different amounts of time. The most basic form of cleaning carpets, which is like your day-to-day cleaning or every other day type of cleaning, is cleaning with a vacuum cleaner. That effectively takes out the loose debris, dust, and dirt from the carpets at a surface level through the use of the vacuum, and leaves you with a fairly good-looking carpet. Having said that, not all debris is removed, and especially when the debris is organic or if you've got liquid spills, you might find stains and spots and other things that make the carpet look dirty that are of a more permanent nature. And in order to clean that, a vacuum cleaner is not sufficient. So the second way in which you could clean a carpet is through some form of low moisture cleaning. And the reason why we distinguish or specifically say low moisture is that that type of cleaning is used when you need the space to dry quickly. So it allows you to do a little bit better than a vacuum cleaner, but doesn't mean you have to block off the area for many days. And then there's a third type of cleaning, which is a more deep clean. And that comes from using the extraction method. So this is when you're using a lot of water to clean carpets and you are cleaning those carpets deeply. So the three ways in which you would clean them are through vacuum cleaners, like a daily type of cleaning. You can use low moisture cleaning, which is more periodic. So you could use it every 2 months or 3 months, depending on the traffic and the type of dirt you have. And then there's deep cleaning, which you might do annually or every 2 years, depending again on the type of facility you have and the type of dirt that your carpets accumulate. So let's talk about the three different methods separately and the kinds of tools you need for each type of carpet cleaning. So the first one we talked about was vacuuming a carpet. And as the name suggests, you would need a vacuum cleaner to vacuum the carpets. And it's about the selection of the right carpet tool to clean the carpet. That really depends on how you're trying to clean it, whether it's a quick clean or even that you can do a deeper vacuum cleaning by using a carpet cleaner tool with a brush on it. But that's basically the requirement: a vacuum cleaner and the right carpet tool, and you can vacuum your carpets. So as we said earlier, the second type of cleaning of carpets would be the low moisture type. And this is really used when you are in a situation where you do not have the luxury of shutting off sections of your facility in order to allow the carpet to dry. So it allows you to do a more deep clean than vacuuming, but not as deep as an extraction, where you can make the surface of the carpet look very nice. And the way that is achieved is by using a swing machine, a bonnet driver, which is a tool that looks like this. And this tool has very short, stiff bristles, so you don't want to use this directly on the carpet, but you're using this with a bonnet. And here's an example of a bonnet. This is a cotton bonnet. So the cotton bonnet would sit on the bonnet driver, and you would use this on the surface of the carpet to clean the carpet. Typically, you'd saturate this in some kind of a cleaning chemical, which is then used on the carpet to clean the carpet. And the reason why it's called low moisture is you're not putting a whole bunch of water or chemical on the floor. Instead, you are allowing the saturated bonnet to work on the surface of the carpet and clean the carpet, and then it dries very quickly. So typically within 1 or 2 hours, that carpet is ready to walk on again. So it's beneficial in places where you don't have the luxury of locking places down. So in terms of bonnets, there are a couple of different types of bonnets you can get. There are cotton bonnets and there are synthetic bonnets. The difference between the two is really that one absorbs more dirt, and typically if you've got stains or spots that need to be cleaned, a cotton bonnet is a better choice for you. A synthetic bonnet is not as absorptive. However, it typically lasts longer, and it's good if you just want to agitate the floor. So if you've got like long corridors which generally need a topical cleaning, a synthetic bonnet's a good bonnet to use for that. Bonnets come in a variety of qualities. It's important to find or look for those bonnets that are going to last you a long time and that are good value for money. Cheap bonnets, unfortunately, disintegrate as you're using them, and you have to be careful about those. But generally, a bonnet cleaning is a well-accepted method in the industry to do low moisture cleaning and to allow people to give a good superficial clean that's much better than a vacuum cleaner, but not necessarily as good as an extractor. So I often get asked the question, what type of machine should I use for low moisture cleaning? And my answer is simple. There are two things to consider. The first is the speed of the machine. So you want to have a machine that generally you can operate at a low speed. And by low speed, I mean 150 RPM to approximately 200 RPM. Anything in that range is good. And the second thing I say you have to consider is the type of motor that you have. So typically you don't want to use an AC motor, although you could. You prefer to use a DC motor. And the reason why you want a DC motor is that it operates at a lower amperage. And the reason why that's important is the friction that's created between a bonnet and the carpet is pretty high, which means that your machine is having to work hard, which means it's drawing a lot of current. So if you're using an AC motor that already operates at a high current, the likelihood of you tripping the circuit is big. Whereas if you use a DC motor, the likelihood of you tripping the circuit is lower, and you've got more room to play. And in fact, there are some machines that have high torque motors, which may be even better suited because you've got even more capacity to play with. So within the typical 15 amp power supply, you've got a lot more room with a high torque DC motor than you would with an AC motor. So that's the other thing I would suggest is find a machine or use a machine that is a DC, has a DC motor and maybe even high torque if you are able to find a machine like that. The third method of cleaning is what we call the deep clean. And that's when you've got a carpet that is soiled and has, maybe been bonnet cleaned for a year or so, but you need to actually take the dirt out of the carpet. Because a bonnet cleaning does not take the dirt out, it pushes it down and maybe takes out some of the surface staining. But a deep clean really is intended to remove dirt from the carpet. And that's why it is something that uses a lot of water. So typically you would use a tool to agitate and loosen the dirt, and then another tool to extract that dirt. That's the typical process. And traditionally, the agitation portion is done by using something called a shampoo brush, which looks like something like this. So here's a shampoo brush, which is used with a floor machine and some kind of solvent or detergent, which together rubs into the carpet and agitates the fibers and loosens the dirt from those fibers. Then the second step is using an extractor. An extractor is a tool that delivers water at a high temperature and a high pressure into the carpet and is then sucked back in using a vacuum system. And what that does is it cycles out all the dirt from the fibers and pulls them into a waste tank that resides on the extractor. So that method uses a lot of water and is very effective in giving a deep clean to the carpet. But the downside is that that carpet is going to remain moist for 48 to 72 hours. And that is why you don't do it as often, and you do it only at a time when you can actually close off a space to traffic. So here's a pro tip for you. If you are shampooing a carpet that has more delicate fibers than the typical synthetic floor, let's say we're talking about, and not necessarily just carpets, but rugs made from silk or wool, things that are more delicate, there's a better shampoo brush that you could use than your typical polypropylene brush. And the one I'm holding here, we call it the free spin brush, is such a brush. And the reason why it is appropriate to use on carpets or rugs which have delicate fibers is that there are two key features in this brush. The first is that the center part is the stainless steel plate. And this is a height adjustable stainless steel plate. And the reason why this is important is that you can change the gentleness or the aggressiveness with which you're cleaning the carpet, number one, by adjusting the height. And secondly, the filaments on this particular brush are much thinner and much finer than a typical shampoo brush. And what that means is that by adjusting the height and using a thinner filament, you're able to clean the delicate carpets or rugs more gently and still be effective. For example, we have a customer who cleans expensive Persian rugs for a living. And what he uses is this brush with a floor machine to clean those carpets.